Golden afternoon sunlight poured through the sheer curtains, painting long light stripes across the floor. Yet despite the room's warm glow, tension thrummed in the air. Kadhir, Nisha and Arjun were huddled around the coffee table, faces etched with focus as they surveyed their accumulated research. Open books, laptops, and scattered papers dominated the space, a reflection of the storm of ideas churning in their minds. Nisha broke the silence first, her tone measured yet brimming with urgency. Kadhir, we've been circling the same questions for weeks. We need Arjun to crack this. He has a way of seeing the big picture, finding the missing pieces. Kadhir leaned back, crossing his arms over his chest. Though his jaw tightened, he couldn't entirely hide the worry in his eyes. Fine. But I'm not sitting on the sidelines. If anyone gets answers, I need to know right away. Arjun finally looked up from the scattered notes in front of him. He wore a small smile, part assurance, part confidence. Don't worry, Kadhir. I'm not doing this for glory. I'll find the answer, and we'll all share in whatever we discover. That's the point, right? Kadhir exchanged a glance with Nisha. Something about Arjun's calm surety sparked a flicker of hope in his chest. He exhaled, feeling the heaviness of weeks of fruitless searches shift onto Arjun's shoulders. The scene transitioned to Arjun's workspace, a dimly lit haven of curiosity. Stacks of books leaned precariously against walls, pinned with scribbled diagrams and notes. The soft glow from a desk lamp cast shadows across Arjun's face, revealing an intensity in his gaze as he pored over endless digital articles. This can't be random. There's a pattern, a cosmic thread tying these anomalies together. He paused to skim through a newly discovered website, eyes widening as fresh insights took shape. That was when he stumbled upon a forum post from Themba, a South African researcher, describing an impossible encounter in the Sterkfontein caves. An aerial shot of the cradle of humankind region. Rugged hills, bushland shimmering under the African sun. Themba, flashlight in hand, ventured into one of the caves. His footsteps echoed against walls that seemed to murmur with ancient secrets. The cave was silent, timeless. But then something changed. A wind from nowhere, stirring the dust at my feet. Themba froze in the darkness. A low rumble coursed through the cavern. Light flickered across the stony surfaces, giving the illusion of movement. Then a rhythmic pounding, like distant drums, reverberated from the depths. Before I could think, the walls glowed, like they were alive. And that's when I saw a swirling vortex of light and shadow. It pulled me in. I was weightless, powerless. Like it knew me. It felt alive, like a living portal. Arjun sat transfixed, reading Themba's account, his own heart pounding in sync with the story. The eerie parallels to Kadhir's Vortex experiences were undeniable. Arjun's breath caught in his throat. It felt like he just uncovered a hidden tapestry where all these threads converged. So it's not isolated. This is bigger than one place or one person. It's happening across the globe. He typed furiously, messaging Themba for more details. The response was immediate. An outpouring of data, timestamps, seismic readings, personal logs. The more Arjun read, the more certain he became that this phenomenon was no coincidence. Time stretched on, but his energy never flagged. One article led to another, each piece of data reinforcing the last. Then a single name seized his attention. CERN, the famed research facility planning a high-energy experiment that might simulate the Big Bang itself. CERN, of course. Their collisions could create tachyon-like particles, maybe even open rifts in space-time. He bolted upright, recalling Nataraja, the statue at CERN symbolizing cosmic dance, the cycle of creation and destruction. Kadhir's significant temple experiences revolved around the same deity in Chidambaram. A shiver skated down Arjun's spine. Nataraja at CERN, Nataraja in Chidambaram, two sides of the same cosmic coin. Morning light filtered through the blinds. Kadhir and Nisha waited by a desk strewn with Arjun's printouts and scribbled diagrams. Arjun, dark circles under his eyes from an all-night research spree, practically glowed excitedly. Everything points here. CERN's upcoming Big Bang simulation might release particles that behave like tachyons, moving backward in time. And if they're intense enough, they could tear open these wormholes you've been experiencing, Kadhir. Kadhir leaned in, scanning the data, his initial skepticism fading as he recognized the patterns that matched his own encounters. That explains the sudden spike in these Vortex sightings, and maybe even Themba's ordeal in South Africa. Nisha flipped through pages detailing the Nataraja statue at CERN, her eyes reflecting a mix of wonder and apprehension. Nataraja represents the dance of the cosmos, creation, preservation, and destruction. Maybe we're looking at more than just science. This could be an intersection of myth and quantum physics. Arjun nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Exactly. We deal with phenomena that blend technology, ancient symbolism, and real-world occurrences. It's bigger than any one discipline. Kadhir exhaled, his shoulders losing some of their tension. He felt a sense of direction for the first time in a long while. So the cosmic pull I felt might be tied to the same energies CERN is about to unleash. And Chidambaram, where Nataraja's worship is central, could be an epicenter for these rifts. Nisha reached out to touch Kadhir's arm in a supportive gesture. We've got a clue at last. No more searching blindly. Arjun glanced from one to the other, his expression reflecting the magnitude of their discovery. It's not a guarantee, but it's something real. The experiment is scheduled soon, and if these theories hold up, it might give us a chance to learn, or even intervene. Kadhir straightened, the remnants of fear in his eyes replaced by a determined spark. I want to be there when it happens. Whatever is happening with time, I need to understand it, and maybe find a way to stop reliving the worst moments of my past. Nisha nodded, her face set with quiet resolve. Then we'll face it head on. I'm not letting you go through this alone. The three stood together, the notes and diagrams spread out like a map of questions yet to be answered. The office's hush seemed charged with both anticipation and awe, because for the first time, they could see the outlines of a path forward through the cosmic unknown. The late afternoon sun cast a warm glow over the sprawling temple complex, its ancient stones radiating a sense of timeless serenity. Kadhir, Nisha, and their two children, Arunan and Divya, stood at the entrance, alongside dozens of other devotees arriving for the day's puja. From the towering gopuram overhead to the intricately carved pillars surrounding the courtyard, every inch of the temple exuded a rich tapestry of faith, culture, and history. A faint haze of incense smoke drifted by, adding a sweet, heady aroma to the air, while the rhythmic clang of temple bells mingled with the murmur of chanting priests. For Kadhir, this journey was more than a family tradition. It was an annual return to the place where he had once, many years ago, glimpsed something beyond ordinary time. That mystery had never fully let go of him. But as he looked at his children's bright faces, he felt another sense of wonder, one tethered firmly to the present, to the life he had built with Nisha. The crowd grew denser as they moved deeper inside. Candle flames flickered against the stone walls, casting dancing shadows that made everything feel alive, if only in Kadhir's imagination. Devotees offered prayers, some whispering their hopes and fears to the statues, others standing in quiet awe. Arjun glanced back at his father, eyes full of curiosity. "Daddy, do people come here from all over the world?" Kadhir nodded, placing a gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "Yes, they do. Faith and devotion can draw people across any distance." Divya, more reserved than her brother, clung to Kadhir's hand. Her wide eyes took in every detail, from the painted frescoes to the intricate lotus motifs on the pillars. She inhaled the mingled scents of jasmine garlands, sandalwood, and the deep incense that perfumed the air. "Daddy, do you think Lord Nataraja can really hear us?" He offered a reassuring smile, though his heart twinged at the memory of how he once questioned reality itself in this very temple. "I believe so, Divya. Maybe not in words, but in our hearts." Nearby, Nisha caught a glimpse of the flicker of uncertainty in Kadhir's gaze. She slipped closer, resting a hand on his shoulder in a subtle show of solidarity. Her soft words, only meant for him, anchored him to the present moment. "You seem anxious, Kadhir. Remember, you're not alone this time." Though the children's chatter bounced off marble pillars, Kadhir felt that underlying tension, the echo of past phenomena swirling at the edges of his mind. A fleeting question darted across his thoughts. Would he be pulled into another time rift? Would some unseen force yank him back into the disorienting corridors of his own past? He squeezed Nisha's hand in silent acknowledgement, grateful for her steady presence. They neared the inner sanctum, where the massive Nataraja idol stood beneath an ornate arch. Drums sounded from somewhere deep in the temple, resonating through the corridors and into Kadhir's chest, where he felt them like a second heartbeat. Arjun tugged at Kadhir's sleeve, pointing eagerly. "Look, Daddy! It's the cosmic dancer!" Kadhir paused to let the children take in the sight. A swirl of incense smoke drifted by, momentarily obscuring his vision. In that second, his pulse spiked. He felt the faintest tremor in the air, a prickle of energy that hinted at something looming just beyond the veil of normal perception. He turned sharply, thinking he glimpsed a shadowy figure out of the corner of his eye. Someone or something he couldn't quite define. His heart pounded, the old anticipation flaring like an alarm. But a moment later, the image was gone, leaving only a subtle aftershock of mystery. Nisha must have sensed his sudden tension. She stepped closer, sliding an arm gently around his back. "Whatever that was, it's okay. We're here for you." Arjun and Divya, unaware of their father's inner turmoil, busied themselves marveling at the elaborate details on the idol. They posed innocent questions, their excitement a balm to Kadhir's unsettled nerves. Eventually, with the children's chatter and Nisha's patient gaze, Kadhir felt his breathing return to a normal rhythm. With a wave of quiet relief, he recalled that he wasn't the solitary seeker he once was. Now, he had a family, a network of love, to ground him in the here and now. As the family emerged from the temple's shadows into the bright day outside, the bells thundered in a unison that reverberated through the ancient walls. Arunan and Divya dashed to the courtyard, drawn by a troupe of temple dancers preparing for an evening performance. Their laughter echoed, slicing cleanly through Kadhir's lingering fears. Nisha moved beside him, her sari rustling softly. She looked at him with a mixture of tenderness and admiration, as though silently commending him for the fortitude he showed, even if the questions lingered. See, we made it through another year, and if something more awaits, we'll be ready. Kadhir felt an upwelling of gratitude for her understanding. He glanced at his children, who waved excitedly, oblivious to the weight he once carried in secret. In their smiles, he saw the life he had built, a life no time travel twist could ever erase. Taking one final look at the towering Gopuram, Kadhir felt a subtle shift inside him, an acceptance that though the cosmic dance of creation and destruction might hold mysteries he couldn't control, he would not face them alone. The presence of his family was enough to steady him, no matter what hidden currents the future might hold. They walked away in the shimmering sunlight, hands linked, hearts lightened, bound by tradition and an enduring love that anchored them more firmly in the present than any quantum anomaly ever could. A deep hush settled over the night. Inside the cramped rental room, dim lamps cast elongated shadows on the walls. Nisha woke abruptly, her heart pounding for reasons she couldn't immediately place. She lay still, ears straining, as if searching for the source of her unease. It took her only a moment to realize why. Kadhir's spot on the bed was empty. A sliver of light from the hallway seeped through the slightly ajar door, painting a faint line on the floor. The silent space where he should have been filled her with a sense of foreboding. She slipped out of bed, draped a shawl over her shoulders, and moved into the hallway with careful footsteps. The corridor stretched ahead, dimly lit by a single bulb flickering at the far end. Though she felt her heart thudding, she pressed forward, fully aware of where Kadhir would likely go. Nisha stepped onto the empty street, where the lone street lamps carved patches of yellowish light into the darkness. The night air brushed her cheeks with a coolness that intensified her senses. She spotted Kadhir in the distance, a solitary figure walking purposefully toward the outskirts of town. His posture exuded tension, as if he were bracing for a confrontation with something only he could perceive. The hush of the surroundings weighed on her. No late-night traffic, no bustling crowds, just an unearthly stillness disrupted by her own anxious breathing. Staying a careful distance behind, Nisha followed. Each step brought her closer to the memory of the day Kadhir first spoke of vortices and time distortions, events that had once sounded impossible. Now she felt the profound reality of it, an undercurrent of mystery in every footfall. Her mind churned with questions, but she kept silent, pressing onward. When he finally reached an open field, she paused, wrapping her arms around herself for warmth. A faint roll of thunder rumbled overhead, as though the sky anticipated something extraordinary. Kadhir stood in the grass, the moon's pale light revealing the tension etched across his face. He stared into empty space, expecting the fabric of reality to tear open before him. Nisha slowed, hiding behind a broken fence post. She could see the muscle in his jaw tighten, an expression she recognized from the earliest days of his time travel confessions. The wind picked up, carrying a chill that prickled her skin. A subdued crack of lightning lit up the sky, illuminating the field in stark white for half a second. In that flash, she glimpsed a flicker in the air near Kadhir, like a rippling mirage. Her stomach dropped in realization. The phenomenon he had feared and sought in equal measure was manifesting once more. Her heart thundered in her chest. She watched in mute awe as the swirling vortex erupted in front of him, a chaotic dance of energy, colors swirling in impossible patterns. It radiated an unsettling, almost hypnotic hum that she felt in her bones. Kadhir, transfixed, lifted one hand toward the vortex. The electric globe pulsed, casting an unearthly light across his features. For a breathless moment, he seemed suspended between two realities, their ordinary life and whatever lay on the other side of that churning portal. In a sudden, dizzying twist of light, Kadhir was drawn forward, disappearing into the vortex, only to be thrust back out in the next instant, as though time had momentarily crumpled around him. Nisha couldn't suppress a cry, pressing a hand to her mouth. For Kadhir, it might have lasted moments or eons. To her, it was a blink. Yet when he re-emerged, he staggered, collapsing onto his knees in the damp grass. Kadhir, oh my goodness. The vortex vanished with the last echoes of thunder, leaving only an uneasy stillness behind. She rushed to his side, her pulse roaring in her ears. Sometime later, Nisha guided Kadhir back through the deserted streets and into the safety of their rented room. The bedside lamp's soft glow revealed his pallor and the sweat beading on his forehead. Gently, she helped him settle onto the bed, draping a light blanket over him like a shield. "You're back now. It's over." His eyelids fluttered as he fought to orient himself. He gazed up at her with a mix of gratitude and disorientation. "Nisha, did you see it?" She swallowed hard, tears welling as she recalled that swirling maelstrom of color and energy. Nodding, she offered a shaky smile before brushing a damp lock of hair from his forehead. "I did. I saw everything, Kadhir." Her voice wavered, but a quiet resolve underpinned it. In that fleeting moment, she understood more than ever that what haunted him now touched her too. No longer were these experiences his burden alone. They belonged to both of them. Hours passed in uneasy reverie. A subtle bloom of dawn reached through the cracks in the curtains, banishing the shadows. Exhausted yet settled by each other's presence, they lay side by side. Nisha's fingers entwined with his, a steady reminder that they were tethered to reality together. "We'll face this, Kadhir, whatever it means, wherever it leads. Together." He squeezed her hand, inhaling a slow, measured breath. The fear still lingered behind his eyes, but a hint of relief flickered there too. For all the swirling chaos, there was a certain comfort in knowing he wasn't facing it alone. "I'm so grateful. I never wanted you to see that, but I needed you to know." Nisha pressed a gentle kiss to his forehead, heart swelling with protective warmth. "We can't pretend it's not real, but we can stand strong, side by side. That's what matters now." In the dawning light, their shared resolve stood firm, a silent promise that no vortex, no tear in the fabric of time, could truly separate them as long as love and faith bound them so tightly.